YouTube, what's going on? Flag 1122 back again. Smoking outside today on a very windy day at my parents' house on their balcony. Wind gusts of up to 45 miles per hour, if you can believe that. It's strangely warm, about 63 degrees. Last week there was snow and ice on the ground. It was like -4. It's the apocalypse, I'm telling you. I've been saying it for years. Check this out. Tell you one thing, I'm just going to blow away and float off to Oz. Speaking of magical fairy realms, nice transition there, I want to talk about a graphic novel today. Also, by the way, I'm smoking my Lorenzo Spitfire with some Blue Note. I want to talk about a graphic novel today, and occasionally I do book reviews, and I kind of like talking about books and stuff like that because I read. But I've been a comic book lover for years and years, since I was a kid, really. And I used to read a lot of the superhero stuff. But as you grow older, your taste palette changes, and you want something a little bit more, adult and more mature. And I've been reading this graphic novel for 10 years. And here it is. It's called Fables. This is volume 19. This is the latest volume. I went to the good old Barnes & Noble and picked it up. The real short version of this is, imagine all the fairy tale characters that you know and love, the ones you're familiar with, and the ones you're not familiar with from other parts of the world. Say Snow White, the Big Bad Wolf, Rose Red, Cinderella, the Frog Prince, Little Boy Blue, all these Humpty Dumpty, all these fairy tale characters that you kind of know and you grew up with. Just imagine that they're real and they're living out there in this alternate dimension or universe, if you like, and they have to escape their home dimension and come to the Earth because they're in danger, they're in threat from this all-powerful adversary, this very sort of like fascist dictator-like character that's looking to conquer all of the fable realms where the fairy tale characters live. So they have to kind of seek refuge in planet Earth, and they set up this sort of town outside New York City, and actually inside New York City, and then outside of the city in an annex called the Farm. And all these fairy tale characters have to come and live in this enchanted part of New York. And they live all amongst, the mundane, they're called the Mundies, the mundane folk. And they just kind of hide out. And the ones that look like, like the Big Bad Wolf, for instance, his name's Big B, he has to take on the guise of a human man. And this is him there, right there to the side of smoke. He's got his cigarettes there. He has to smoke cigarettes because as a wolf he's got very powerful olfactory senses, and just the smell is just of the planet Earth is just too horrible and too overwhelming, so he just smokes, chain smokes. Like Beast from Beauty and the Beast, he's got an enchantment on, so he looks like a guy. So all the ones that look like, like horrible monsters and dragons and stuff, they all have enchantments on them. There's a dragon who's enchanted to look like a crow, so that's pretty interesting. It's been going for over 10 years now. It's just absolutely wonderful writing. It just grips you from the first book. It's characters, like I said, that you're familiar with, that you know about. It's just interesting to see them in a little bit different light, and a little bit more adult sensibilities. This book is definitely geared towards an adult readership. It has suggested for mature readers on the back. It's from the Vertigo imprint. It's a DC kind of side imprint. DC Comics, they'd come out with Vertigo years and years ago. It's kind of more of adult fare, really. There's two things I want to say about it. Number one, you're thinking, hey, that sounds an awful lot like Once Upon a Time, that TV show on ABC. Well, number one, Once Upon a Time, it's only been out for a couple years. Fables has been going for 10 years now, and when they came out with Once Upon a Time, I was like, good God, the author of this, which by the name, the author is Bill Willingham. He should probably take some legal action against the creators of Once Upon a Time, because it was just so similar. And I watched the first season of Once Upon a Time, and it was just, it's just fluff, and it's, I'm not going to say anything horrible about it. I watched the first season, but it's just not my cup of tea. If you want a lot more engrossing story and a lot more interesting characters and less soap opera nonsense, read Fables. It's a good alternative for that. I still don't know why, they were able to proceed with this, because it is so similar, Once Upon a Time and Fables. I definitely think they should have had some sort of monetary reward for ripping off their story. But anyway, the number 2 thing I wanted to say about this is it is quite long, so you can go back and find the graphic novels that have been released already. Like I said before, this is graphic novel number 19, so there's a lot of story to read, and they're all pretty chunky. But you can go buy all this stuff on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com. Go into Barnes & Noble; they'll have a good selection of Fables. You can get on eBay and Amazon both and find used trade paperbacks, swoop them up for a pretty good price. But anyway, check it out. If you're interested in fairy tales and fables and a modern spin on that, imagine in this world, the Big Bad Wolf is the sheriff of Fabletown, and he's kind of a detective, hard-boiled detective, and Snow White was kind of the not the mayor, but the city planner, and the mayor is it's just I'm not going to go into it all completely, but just imagine these fairy tale creatures and characters and just put a modern spin on them, so it's my highest recommendation. I really enjoy it. It's something that it's changed over the past 10 years from where it started out and where it's at now. It's just really fascinating to see the story evolve, and you get to really kind of become familiar with the characters and really start to care about them. And I think that's really the power of reading over watching TV or movies. It seems to get into your brain a little bit more when you read something. And I love the medium of comic book and sequential art. And the fact that you're using your eyes and you're reading at the same time. It's really just a brilliant way to get some entertainment. But that's all for me. I just wanted to point out that and give that my recommendation. There's a lot of good graphic novels out there, and I read a lot of them, so I'd like to give you some suggestions if you're interested. You pipe smoking community. I know that you're this community is a very literary community. I know a lot of pipe smokers read, but I'm going to wow, hear that? I'm going to try to survive this gale force out here. I might get blown away to one of these fable dimensions myself. If I do, I'll see you maybe never again, but I will continue the pipe smoking hobby in the fable realm. Cheers.